Good morning. I'm Keith Glass, City of Monroe Police Department, and I got Lieutenant Tracy Hanson with me today. And what we want to do is point out a problem that's not only citywide, but it's probably a nationwide, statewide, and countywide problem, and that's just litter. And while this is not the most devastating crime that we deal with in the City of Monroe, as you can see from the video, it's a lot of trash, and we're standing right here at the East Spring Street exit coming off 78 Highway, and this litter was picked up about 10 or 12 days ago. And what I'm want to express to you is this is your community. If you see somebody littering, go ahead and call the 911, give them a tag number, and officers inside the city will respond to that. If you can't call 911 for some reason, if you can take down a tag number, Lieutenant Tracy Hanson is going to kind of be heading up something for me on this litter for a while, and I'd ask that you just email her the tag number. Her email is thanson@monroega.gov. That's thanson@monroega.gov. And again, it's your community, and as you can see, and he'll scan around and show you some more trash, but this trash was picked up with community service by community service workers about 12 days ago, and you can see how much is built up. So we really need your assistance, and we're looking at some ways also of places where we have a lot of this, maybe getting some video out there so we can catch them also on video. But we just need your help with that, and if you have any other problems with the crime or whatever in the City of Monroe that we can help you with, please contact us at the City of Monroe Police Department.
I just look forward to hearing from citizens here in the community, and we can work together and hopefully make Monroe not only a safer place, but more appealing to the eye. And just like Chief said, just email me with any problems. If you see anyone littering, or if you can get a tag number, and we can follow up with those people, just email me, thanson@monroega.gov.
And we thank you for your help.
Where do you come alive? A stadium, lecture hall, a music hall, church potluck? This year, you have a new spot, walkgeorgia.org, a free website that provides you with all the resources needed to get your heart rate up and body out in your community. Sign up and receive individual or group fitness tracking, fitness demos by certified trainers, recipes, and a guide to resources in your Georgia County, all in one easy-to-use site. When you move more, you live more. walkgeorgia.org.
It's your home, it's your dream. Radon test and keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. Now that's living healthy and green.
Green, green, green. It's your home, it's your dream. Radon test and keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green.
To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
Hi, I'm Shane Short with the Development Authority in Walton County, and we are here today with the Chamber of Commerce. We have an excellent antique festival going on that started yesterday on Friday and goes through tomorrow Sunday. And as you can see, we've got a large variety of antiques all around us. We have a lot of vendors here today, people from all over the state and even other states coming in to the festival. And listen, there's something here for everybody, so come on out and visit us at the Antique Festival. I think you're really going to enjoy it. It's our first annual one. We're going to continue this thing every year, and all the proceeds from the Antique Festival go to promote the antique capital of Georgia and all the great tourism that comes along with it.
And this is Cypress, right? Well, you look comfortable. It looks like it's a very comfortable tree.
Very comfortable. This one is not rock.
Just down the weather all the time.
All the time.
This is Paul Mullins with Walton Entertainment. I hope you've enjoyed the tour through this antique show out here at Hammond Park. And as they were saying, this is probably going to be an annual occasion here in Monroe.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Clearview. I'm so glad y'all are here. My name is Emily Russell, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Business Development here. And one of my favorite parts of my job is that I get to host these Lunch and Learns events every single month. So this month we are talking about esophageal cancer and learning about what are some of the signs and symptoms, what are some preventions that you can do, and what are some treatment options as well as some of the resources that we have here at Clearview to treat that. And then next month we will be talking about the onset of dementia and how to recognize the signs of that, symptoms, all those kinds of things. So you guys be sure to mark your calendar. I believe it's May 19th off the top of my head. But you can always call that phone number that you call to register or visit our website to find out more. So today we are so excited to have with us two University of Georgia students that are both seniors, and I'm gonna let them tell you guys about themselves and a little bit about kind of how they came to here, and they're actually going to be doing the presentation for y'all. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you guys, okay?
All right.
Oh, hi, I'm Quinaria Streeter. Like Emily said, I am a senior at the University of Georgia, and me and Matt both are, so we'll be graduating in May. And we are both health promotion and behavior majors. So our major really focuses on keeping the community healthy, work sites, school children, all of that. So we do whatever we can to promote health within our communities.
And I'm Matt Culberson. I go to UGA, 4th year, and we're both health promotion majors that focus on improving the health of the community as a whole. And right now we're waiting grad school. We're awaiting to hear back from them to see if we got into our master's program. So that's where we're at right now. We've had a great 4 years. And now we're going to tell you a little bit about esophageal cancer, okay?
So before we start talking about the cancer within itself, we're kind of going to just go over like the normal anatomy. That way you can better understand the consequences of if this normal anatomy malfunctions in any type of way. So the esophagus is basically just a muscle. It starts at the back of your throat and runs all the way to your stomach. And basically this is just the muscle that helps propel food from your mouth down to the stomach. And liquids go through this as well as food, and it reaches the stomach, but it is controlled by sphincters, both at the top of the throat and at the bottom of the stomach, to allow food not to respire and come back up through the esophagus to stay down in the stomach. Okay, so this is, if you kind of cut the esophagus in half, this is kind of what it would look like. And the esophagus is lined with different layers. And these layers are there to basically lubricate the esophagus, help the food go down easier, and also just to provide cushion and added protection just in case you were to get hit there or in case you swallow something so it doesn't easily puncture the esophagus or something like that. And so the main, the inside of the esophagus is called the lumen, and that's where the food is going to touch. The outside layers are just there as protection layers. And the main layers that we're going to talk about are the mucosal layer, and that's right outside of the lumen, right there in the picture. And then the next layer outside of the mucosal layer is the submucosal layer. And so those are the two main layers that can have cancerous growth on them. And that's actually what esophageal cancer is the cancerous growth that's on those outside layers of the esophagus, not necessarily the esophagus itself. Okay, so the mucosal layers, like I said, is the first layer that lines the esophagus, and it's actually made of 3 smaller layers within that layer, but those aren't that important, so we're going to skip past those. And then the submucosal layer is that next layer, and that's a layer that contains a lot of blood vessels, a lot of nerve endings. So you could imagine if you have a tumorous growth or something like that, it's going to be really painful in that region. Okay, and the mucosal layer, this is also where the cancerous cells can grow, and the cancer cells are going to start on that layer and grow inward. So it's going to be painful to swallow because that cancerous growth is going to start from the outside and go further inward, basically closing your esophagus gap, so it's harder to squeeze food and liquids and things like that down there. So the mucosal propypia is the thick layer of muscle outside of the submucosal layer, so that's the layer of muscle that helps protect that layer of the submucosal. And it pushes food from the esophagus to the stomach, like we said before. And the adventia is the outermost layer of the esophagus. And so that's another layer that can be affected with cancerous growth. So as you can see in this picture, we all know that cancer is kind of like in 4 stages, not so bad to really, really bad. And so right here, it's just kind of showing how the cancerous cells can grow in the esophagus. So if you look at stage 0, you kind of see a little bump that starts on that layer. And like I said, it grows, as it gets bigger, it grows inward, basically blocking your food passage and things like that. Okay, so there are 2 main types of esophageal cancer. So those main types are the squamous cell carcinoma and the edema carcinoma. And those are basically just the cancerous tumors growing on those specific layers. So like we said before, and other rare cancers are there, but majority of the cancers that you hear for esophageal are going to be the squamous cell and the edema carcinoma. Okay, so as we can see with both of the cancers, there's really no way for you to tell the difference between which cancer you have, but as a physician they can look in more closely and tell which type of cancer you have. But essentially this is how both of the cancers are going to look. And the squamous cell carcinoma, it's important to know that that cancer is a lot more prevalent in African Americans. So that's an important tip to take from that one. And this used to be the main form of cancer, but with technology and with medication it has become the second most common. So, and this is the most common one, the edema carcinoma, and that's the one that starts in the glands of the layer, of the mucosal layer. And it just, like I said, it starts in that layer, and the cancerous cells grow outward towards the center, affecting how you swallow.
All right, guys, now that we've gone over the anatomy of the esophagus and how the inner workings of that go, do we have any questions about that before we move on? No? Okay. All right, so as we move on, we talk about what goes right and what goes wrong with that, and let's say the steps we take in our life that will change those factors, okay? So here we have the stages of the esophageal cancer right here. All right, and then it goes in increasing order from, best to worst. In stage 1, that's basically describing a cancer occurring in the superficial layers. Superficial just simply meaning the top layers, okay? And that, if we catch it there, that's great. And that's a job of doing some screenings, taking the proper measures there to catch it in stage 1, hopefully before it gets to stage 2 or even stage 4, okay? And then in stage 2, when someone says stage 2, that simply means that it's going down deeper into the layers, okay? So it goes into like the lymph nodes nearby, and once it hits the lymph nodes, it begins to spread throughout your neck's tissues, and it begins to take a broader range throughout your body. And then once it goes throughout your body, we hit stage 4 in the cancer, okay?
And it's important to note about stage 4, that's really the stage where there are not many treatments available, because that's when the cancer is no longer just in the esophagus, it's moved to other parts of the body. So it's pretty much impossible to get rid of it.
It's hard to target it once it gets there. You can't just, we have our treatment options, which we'll go over later, which may be surgery or attacking it with some sort of radiation or chemotherapy. But once those agents spread throughout the body, it's hard to just target it right here, okay? Because you've got it here and you've got it here too, okay? So let's go over some lifestyle factors that may increase or decrease our chances of getting esophageal cancer, okay? That's the main reason we're here today. We want to be able to prevent that and stop it right now, okay? So cancers that start in the esophagus are much more common than in men. Much more common in men than in women. It's 3 to 1 actually, which is, that's not good for us guys. Okay, so we have to understand that, know it, and take extra caution and extra preventable measures. Okay? Many of these cancers are in fact linked to tobacco or alcohol use, as well as being overweight. Okay? That's the same as with a lot of cancers. Tobacco and alcohol are your number 1 leading risk factors. Not saying, you need to just cold turkey cut it out immediately, but if we can wean off that throughout the future, that would be our best bet.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about some more risk factors that increase your chances of developing esophageal cancer. And being older than 55 is one of the main risk factors. But that's something we can't help, but as long as we try to do other lifestyle behavior changes and make sure we're up on our screenings, then we can kind of fluctuate our results for that one. And so somebody mentioned that they had the Barrett's esophagus. So basically that relates to the next one that we have in bold, which is acid reflux. And so what acid reflux is just when you burp, it's just the acid from your stomach burns the lining of the esophagus. Because the acid in your stomach that's there to digest food is about a pH of 2. And that's really, really low on the pH scale. So it's really acidic. And therefore it burns the lining of the esophagus, and it kind of damages those cells there and make them more prone to not being able to regulate their division, which leads to cancerous growth. And improper diet, like Matt just said, obesity is a risk factor for esophageal cancer. And lye, that's a chemical in a lot of workplaces, and it's also in a lot of hair products, relaxers and things like that. So trying to stay away from things like that. Like Matt said, a history of smoking, which can lead to throat cancer and lung cancer too. That's also a risk factor. And HPV, if you've ever had HPV, that also is shown to increase your risk for esophageal cancer.
What is HPV?
HPV is human papillomavirus, and that's mainly transmitted through sexual contact.
All right, so now let's talk about some changeable factors, what I began to go into earlier. Let me ask you, and we'll have a discussion here, what are some preventative methods or some lifestyle changes, we may have already discussed them, that we could make in order to lower our risk of esophageal cancer? Anybody have an answer with that?
Fresh vegetables and fruit, that's what they say.
Yes, ma'am, you're exactly right there. You're exactly right. Those do not have the carcinogens that other foods that sometimes may taste a little better, they don't have those same carcinogens in them. Okay, so fruits and vegetables we always want to get a lot of in our meals. We place a high importance on that. Do we have anything else that we'd like to add? Exercise, definitely. We definitely need to get exercise, because what does exercise do? It prevents obesity. You know, we keep the endorphins going throughout our body, okay, which make us feel better each day. So preventing that obesity also puts a lot less strain on the esophagus and on the stomach, and on, you know, a less likelihood of the acid reflux that Q is describing. Okay? So let's say that we're older than 55, okay, so we've got that risk factor, and we may have a little bit of alcohol or tobacco here and there, okay? So we need to know when to take these screening measures to know what we need to do in the future and where we actually stand. Okay, so these screening measures, there is one in particular, it's called an endoscopy. Now some of you may have already had an endoscopy, okay? The endoscopy, basically your doctor will pass a tube down through your throat, okay? It'll go into your esophagus, and it's got a camera on it, and it will look at what's around, okay? And I mean, it's amazing the technology that we have that we can do that. But we can go into our esophagus and look for cancerous cells, and we can tell the cancerous agents by the discoloration of the actual cells and the scarring of the throat. And the thing is, that's a major screening measure that we need to be looking at, because the acid reflux is really key here, because we can tell the early scarring and how it's going to lead, because we have all these previous cases that help us with that. Okay, so we know where it's going to go from there. So the number one, you know, important that I'm trying to say here is to let's get out there and get those endoscopies. Let's make sure we're taking the proper screening measures so we know where we stand, and we know we can take the preventative measures properly.
Does that extend to the stomach?
Yes, sir, it does. Now, a biopsy, some of you may have heard of biopsy. Now, that's in a lot of different surgical measures here, and it's a test done on any part of the body. It's when they go in and they actually remove some of your tissue, and they take it into the lab, and what they do is they look at it there to see a little bit more in-depth of it, okay? A little bit more in-depth look than what we can get from the tube that goes through your esophagus, okay?
In the, doing the endoscopy, is there an age? I know a lot of doctors won't do a colonoscopy after a certain age. Is there a certain age that a lot of doctors won't do an endoscopy?
Well, I don't know of an age per se, but, you know, it never hurts to get in there and ask them, you know. Call them, ask them, and see what you can't find out about it, because, you know, as we're talking about here, the important thing to do is to make sure we're taking the proper preventative measures. That's the hardest thing that we as, you know, in this room and we as a culture are having trouble with right now. We're facing the problems of, you know, well, that's down the road, okay? So why do I need to worry about it today? Well, the thing is, when that is today, you're going to regret it, okay? So let's try and take those measures now, and let's do what we can. And, you know, I'll see if I can't find out about that, if there is a maximum age per se.
And another way to kind of dictate that is, like, if you're over 55, you should probably go get screened. But also, if you just exempt a lot of the risk factors, say you've had HPV, you have acid reflux, things that put you at a higher risk, you can kind of gauge how urgent your screening needs to be by those risk factors.
And the acid reflux, I know we keep referring back to that, with it being such a major cause, with the scarring that it does and the damage it does to your throat. But they have medications that are very cheap, very affordable, that they will prescribe to you, and that will manage that on a daily, and it will take the acid reflux completely out. And, you know, it does. That's great medication. So treatment options we have. Let's say that we've progressed onwards, okay, and we've actually we've been diagnosed with the disorder, okay. Well, treatment options that we need to know and be aware of are chemotherapy, radiation, and surgical options, okay? Now, all of these options will depend on simply your preference. They will depend on the stages at which that cancer is at. You know, as we discussed earlier, is it at stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, or even stage 4? And it will also depend at, you know, where it's at on the region in the body, okay? So let's talk about chemotherapy for a minute. I think we all have a good general understanding of what chemotherapy actually is. It's a drug treatment where we use chemicals to kill the cancer cells. Okay, now the hard part about that is that those drugs can actually harm our body in other ways. But, you know, we kind of take, you know, you're dealing with two demons there and you need to take one of them out. So some of the side effects that we may face would be appetite changes, digestive disorders, fatigue, and hair loss. Those are the common ones. As we move on, we've got surgical options. Now in surgical options, we can remove a very small tumor. We can remove a portion of the esophagus if it gets to a certain point where it is too large to remove safely. Then we'll actually take out part of the esophagus right there and sew it together. Okay? And then lastly, we can remove part of the esophagus as well as the stomach. Okay? And you know, that's the extreme measure there. But you know, if it's in your best benefit, that's what we're looking at. And then here's a little bit of statistical representation that can just, sometimes it helps to know things in numbers, okay? Sometimes it helps to understand a little bit in numbers. The lifetime risk of esophageal cancer in the United States is about 1 in 125 in men, okay? So, you know, it's not the most common cancer, but it's one that, as you'll see in the next stat right here, the rate of living past 5 years once diagnosed is 20%, okay? You know, medicine is taking that up. You know, it used to be 5%. That was a decade ago. So, you know, we're improving there. But we need to understand that 20% still, that's 1/5 of people. Okay? Right there. So, let me go back to that again. 1 in 125 men, as well as 1 in 435 women, okay? So. And then guys, if we have any further questions that we may not be able to answer, or we may not be able to find a doctor in here that knows the answer, visit a couple of these websites online. Go to the Mayo Clinic. Go to the American Cancer Society. Visit the CDC website. Okay, that's a great one. You know, it's governmental. Or also the National Institute of Health. These are great websites to go and visit. Learn a little bit about it. Become educated. And make sure that we're taking the proper preventative measures. Okay, let's make sure that we make that a priority.
Hello, my name is Joel Burnside, and I am the Ag and Natural Resource Agent for the Walton County Extension Office. I'd like to talk to you today and go over a few points. Since it's springtime, everything's greening up, and people are getting out and gardening and working in their lawns and landscapes. So it's a very busy time of year for me, and a very busy time of year for you. Right now, as you know, we've had about a week-long rainfall. There's a lot of rain out there, so those of you who want to haven't planted your garden yet, I would suggest holding off until the ground dries a little bit. You might ask why. It's not very good to get out and garden, till up the ground, or do any kind of cultivation in your garden when it's wet. The reason for this is because it compacts the ground and it makes it very hard for the plants to grow healthy, strong roots. A good rule of thumb when it's dry enough for you to work is if you walk out into the area where you want your garden, if you pick up a handful of dirt and squeeze it in your hand, and then if you can poke your finger through it and it crumbles apart, that's a good time to get out and start your garden. If it doesn't, if it's kind of mushy, you see water or moisture in the dirt, then I would hold off a few more days and let it dry out a little more, which I know can be very hard when there's beautiful weather outside. I understand. The next thing I would like to talk about would be azaleas. Azaleas are very popular in Georgia, and right now they're blooming everywhere. A rule of thumb with azaleas that most people don't know is right after they bloom and all the blooms have dropped off, I would go out and prune your azalea bushes back a few inches. The reason for doing this is you do not want to prune after July, because as soon as after July and after they've dropped their blooms, azaleas start to put on buds for their blooms for next year. So if you prune after July, you're actually pruning off the new blooms for the following year. So right after they drop the blooms, prune them now and fertilize them with a specialty camellia or azalea fertilizer that you can pick up at your local hardware store or Lowe's or Home Depot. Do not over fertilize. Azaleas have very shallow roots, so it's easy to burn the roots. Just pick up the specialty fertilizer and apply as the label directions direct you to. The next thing I'd like to talk about would be your lawns. For the people who like to have a perfect pristine lawn, that's a lot of work. If you didn't get your pre-emergent herbicide out and you're starting to see weeds pop up in your lawn, it's now time to apply what they call the post-emergent herbicide. This is called post-emergent. This is herbicide that you apply after the weeds have emerged. You can go to your local hardware store, Lowe's or Home Depot, and pick out a herbicide. Make sure it's labeled for the type of grass you have, be it Bermuda or centipede or fescue. If you don't know and have trouble, then you can call me and I can come out and help identify what type of grass you have. But you can go to the store and buy the post-emergent herbicide and apply it. Usually when it's dry, you don't want to apply when there's any forecast for rain, because it needs at least 24 hours to sit on that plant to actually kill it. So right now, with the rain we've had, would not be a good time, but as soon as the sun comes out, it would be a good time to do that. And if you have any questions about all the different types of herbicides that are out there, you can call me and I can help walk you through some of the options you have. Fertilizing, don't fertilize right now. It's not good to fertilize lawns while they're greening up. The lawns really won't be greened up until about the 1st of May, mid-May. If you apply fertilizer when the lawn is 50% or less greened up, as they call it, you can damage the grass. So we want it to be fully greened up before we apply fertilizer. So let's hold off on that for a couple of weeks. Maybe I would say May, you'd probably be good to go. And if you're wondering how much fertilizer to apply, you can come to our office and do a soil test, and we can, when we get those results back, we can tell you exactly how much fertilizer you'll need to apply. In a case where you don't have time to do a soil test, you can give me a call and we have some base application rates that you can apply, and usually it'll be a 10-10-10 fertilizer. Nothing really special on that end, but just give us a call if you have questions about that. One of the most important things you can do for your lawn that most people overlook or don't know is the mowing height. You can also call me for those mowing heights because they vary from each variety of grass. But it's very important to have sharp lawnmower blades and to mow at the correct height. That is one of the #1 important things you can do. If you don't do that, then the health and vigor of your lawn will decline over the years. So make sure you know that information. And like I said, if you don't, give me a call and I'll be happy to help you. The next thing I'd like to talk about would be selecting annuals for your landscape. Like I said before, it is that time of year where all the hardware stores, Lowe's and Home Depot, they have all the new annuals out that are flowering, and it's very tempting to go buy those, which I'm not saying you can't, but here are a few pointers. Site selection is the #1 thing. Don't think that you can just buy any plant or shrub and throw it anywhere in your lawn or landscape and expect it to live. It's very important to know that spot in your landscape and to know the needs of that plant. So before you go buy, do some research on your lawn or your landscape. If you have an area where you're really wanting to put some plants, take a whole day while you're at the house a Saturday and see how much sunlight that particular area gets. Most of your annuals and shrubs that thrive in Georgia are going to need 6 to 8 hours of sunlight a day. If it's shady, we do have plants that like more shade, but just make sure you figure that out and make sure that you know whether the plant likes to be in full sun, shade, and the water requirements. These are some very important things to consider before you go and spend your money and the plant doesn't survive. When you're picking the plants, really inspect them at the store. Make sure they don't have any spots on them, if they're broken stems or anything that looks like a disease. You really want to try to pick the most healthy plants. And it is okay for you to pull the plant out of the black plastic that they're in and make sure don't have a lot of roots wrapped around. You want those roots to just be showing, not a lot. So take the time to do that and buy you're paying for them, so take the time to inspect them and get healthy plants, and they'll do that much better in your landscape. The last thing I would like to talk to you about is some of the services that the Extension Office offers that you may not know about. Number one that I've mentioned is soil test. We will come out and help you with soil test, or you can bring the soil to us. It's $6 per soil test, and we can test for anything that you're wanting to test for, be it your grass, shrubbery, or even vegetables in your garden. We can specifically test for certain things. The next service that we offer are site visits. If you have a lawn or garden issue, or any issue really, you can call the office and I can come out to your house for free and help you figure out your problem and assess the situation. The third thing is plant and weed ID. If you have a weed or a plant that you're not sure of, that you have growing in your lawn, your garden, or your landscape, you can call us. I can come out, take pictures, or take a physical sample, and we can get that ID'd for you so we know what it is. Also, along with that, we do disease identification. If you have a disease, again, in your lawn, your garden, or your landscape, and there's something not right, we can come out, take pictures, physical samples, and figure out what is attacking your plants and how to fix that problem. And the last thing that we do are water tests. We have numerous water tests for people who have wells. The EPA suggests getting your water tested every 2 years. So if you're interested in that, give me a call and we can figure that out for you. Again, if you have any problems with your lawn, garden, or landscape, don't hesitate to call the Walton County Extension Office, and I'll be happy to talk with you and figure your problems out. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Dr. April Mitchell from the Monroe Veterinary Clinic, and today I would like to welcome everybody to our Spring Fling and the 51st Annual Walton County Horse Show. We're having this event on May 2nd at the fairgrounds located on Church Street, the Walton County Fairgrounds, and our activities begin at 12, and we're having all kinds of raffles and drawings and pony rides, barbecue, face painting. We also have invited several vendors to come out to have displays and to sell some of their goods. And all of this, all the proceeds to this are going to help support Walton County Animal Control. And the way we're going to do that is by supplying medical care and medical supplies to the animal control to try to help them increase their adoption rates, because they're doing a really good job trying to help those animals that have been left there or have been picked up, and they really do need our help as a community to find homes, because they have some great dogs and cats that go through there, and it's just a shame for them not to have loving homes and families. So we would like to have everybody come out. We're having a horse show starting at 1 and then another horse show starting at 4, so it's kind of an all-day event, and we're really excited about it, and we hope everybody comes and brings their children. Thank you very much.
Hello Walton County, this is Kevin Little with Chairman's Report, Channel 16, Walton Entertainment. Today it's a little rainy, misty, cool outside, and as we go into spring, it may not have as many days like this, but I'm just, as the old traffic engineer from Walton County, I've actually just traveled from Athens to Loganville back to Monroe on US 78, and I just want to talk to you about some things I've observed. Texting and driving is illegal in the state of Georgia. And probably 1 out of every 4 cars the person was texting, and the problem that I saw there is you're in the left lane, which is the fast lane, and you're holding up traffic. Georgia law passed last year, the legislature was to, if you're slower than the person than in your lane, move to the right lane. And I did notice that on several occasions that you were impeding traffic and you'd ride up beside somebody and be side by side. So please, move over, move to the right lane, and that way it'll make people travel a lot quicker. Also, we've become reliable on our automobiles and trucks to turn the lights on for us. Rainy, foggy day, white vehicle, gray vehicle, you can't see them on a day like today. I guarantee you that half of the cars that I met on 78 highway and that 30-mile trek right there didn't have their headlights on. Yep, your switch cuts it on when it's nighttime, but a bright day like a 2 o'clock in the afternoon kind of day, if it's rainy and misty, we can't see you. And 2-lane roads, 4-lane roads, wherever, make sure you turn that switch on, because that's very important in preventing accidents. People can see you and you can see them as they approach. And so that's a little safety tip from my traffic engineering days. And while we're already talking about roads, I did want to let you know that Charlotte-Rowell Boulevard is in the final stages of being, the planning is waiting to be approved, and they're working on it at Georgia DOT. It'll be one through lane just going westbound on 138. It'll pick up the Walmart turning lane, and it will go across the intersection there at Spring and will terminate out in front of Tractor Supply. What this should do, carry as many, double the amount of cars through that intersection, which should allow the backup that's been going back to the new road to be alleviated. Also, a part of this, you won't be able to come out of the Walmart entrance and exit there and turn left anymore. It'll be a right in, right out, right there at Chick-fil-A. So you won't be able to do that. That'll be a part of that. You'll have to go out to the red light down on the Spring Street side if you want to make a turn. So that's a major improvement there. The Board of Education is going to be opening up the middle school on Bay Creek Church Road, which is off 78 at Split Silk. And we have been working on center turn lane up through there. Also, there will be a right turn back at the 78 entrance of Bay Creek Road and the 78. And on the other end, the DOT has got the numbers for a traffic signal there, and they're evaluating it to see what if it meets the traffic warrants for signalization. I understand that they'll be following the middle school with a K through 5 school there, so they're going to be a good bit of traffic. And generally, we live in Monroe, so most of us, if we're going to Gwinnett County, we use that as a bypass around Loganville anyway. So we're also doing a study to see what it would cost to widen that road 2 feet on each side. It's just an old 20-foot wide road and seems to be very narrow when you meet a truck or a bus. So we're getting starting the paving season. Will be coming up here end of this month, 1st of April. As many of you know, we had a hard winter, very cold days, very wet days. And when you have cold, wet days, as I've told you many times before, the water under the road bed will freeze, and then when you run over it, it acts like a springboard, and it cracks the asphalt, and the water gets in, and then your road surface sinks. And so that causes a pothole. So they're going to be numerous potholes. We're going to be out working on them. And as you can see, the US 78 from Monroe to Athens is in horrible condition. It is, and we don't have anything to do with that. Any state route is handled by Georgia DOT, but we're going to have enough to take care of on the county side. So we'll be working with that and trying to get that took care of. If you do see any road problems, don't hesitate to call our Public Works Department at 770-267-1350. They'll get a work order in and get it took care of for you. We rely on you, the citizens, to inform us of what's going on out on our roads, because we can't be on every mile every day. And so the eyes and ears of the public is very important to us. If you have any questions or concerns, anything I've discussed, or want to talk about anything in Walton County in particular, give me a call, please, at 770-267-1316. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kenny Sargent with Keep Walton Beautiful in the Walton County Recycling Center, and wanted to thank you all for tuning in today. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things we've been doing around here. The last couple days we've been getting goodie bags and informational packets out to all of our third graders in the county. We've also done a school program at 8th Elementary, and we did want to thank all the teachers and administrators for giving us the opportunity to come in. The program went great. Had a lot of good questions, and it's something we really enjoy doing, and I think the kids really enjoy it, and it's a good chance for us to tell them about who we are and to remind them how important it is to be good stewards of our earth. So we do have a program coming up at Georgia Perimeter that we're excited about, and we also have another program coming up at Social Circle Elementary. So it is that time of year, and we did want to remind any other school officials that's out there that we are available for those. We're also available for field trips, and it's what we really enjoy doing. Also, it's gotten to be that time of year where a lot of you guys are cleaning out garages and just spring cleaning, and we've had a lot of calls about what to do with paint, and I kind of wanted to go through that again and just remind you that with the paint, we can't take any wet paint. If you have some cans that have just a small amount of paint left in them, what we've learned you can do is take the tops off of those things and give them a few days to sit out in the sun, and they'll dry up. And when they're dry and hardened through and through, we can't accept that. It just can't be wet paint. If you have more than just a little bit in a can of paint, what we've been told to do is to either use the oil dry or kitty litter and put it into the can, stir it up, and get the oil dry to absorb all the paint. At that point, you would want to scrape out the paint can, scrape out the paint into a newspaper or something like that, and it can be just bunched up and put in the trash can at that point. But what's inside the can has to come out for as long as it's still wet. We've had a lot of calls on that, and I did want to make that clear. And also to just be aware that we do a paint recycling day at least once a year, and that will be coming up for those of you that can hold the paint for that long. So those are some of the things that's coming up. Next week is Earth Week, and we wanted to make sure that everyone recognized that was coming up, and remember how important it is that we all do our part to take care of our environment and to take that day seriously. And that's really about all we've got going on here now, as we're trying to get into the schools and close out the school year right around Earth Week and promote our cause. Again, I would invite anybody that's never been here to our place before, as I always do, to come down, check out what we have here. We're a great resource that a lot of people don't know about. But come down, check us out, let us walk you through, show you what we do. We can give you a brochure that shows you what we do and what we take here and what we don't take here, and can answer some questions you may have about some of your sanitation or recycling needs. So feel free to come see us. We encourage you to do so. Talk to you next time.
Hi, this is Jody Johnson. I'm here with the Recreation Report. Glad to say that spring is here, even though it feels like it's raining about every other day. It's been a very struggle with our new baseball and softball season as it started this year. It seems like it's raining every afternoon, but nonetheless, we're about halfway through our season and everything is going great. We have gotten some of our games in now that we're through spring break. We're on the back end of our season, so we're looking forward to finishing that up with our end of the season tournament that's countywide, and then we'll have some all-star programs. Our soccer season and track seasons also are going well. With that being said, anytime we start one season, we always look forward to the next season. And one of our registrations, our fall registration, is coming up very soon. And that's for baseball and softball, football, cheerleading, all those sports that we do in the fall. Is usually our largest program. The weather usually is very nice in the fall around here, all the way through November. So our registration is going to be Monday through Friday. That's May 11th through the 16th. Monday through Friday we're open from 9 to 5, on Thursday 9 to 7, and on Saturday 9 to 1. Again, that's May 11th through the 16th. We'll have our fall sports registration. The cost is around $75. That's the maximum you'll pay. And then some of the younger age groups are a little cheaper than that. So you can go to our website at waltoncountyga.gov to see all the sports programs that we have to offer you, and the cost of those programs as well. You also can find phone numbers if you need to contact them. We're always in need of two things here at the Recreation Department besides the participants that participate in our programs. We're always looking for volunteers to help coach the programs. We're looking for officials to officiate those programs, and that is a paid position. So if you're looking for, you have a passion for sports, for youth sports, and you want to learn how to officiate some of the ball games, make some extra money, we're always looking for good officials. We have a couple of signers that do the training for us, and then they assign the games to those folks to officiate. So we're always looking for good qualified, good role models in both of those fields. So let us know if we can and can get you involved in our program in other ways besides participating. Another program we have that's it's a lot of fun for people that are more outdoorsmen, not more athletics, is our fishing and casting contest. That's also coming up. We'll have it at Meridian Park on Saturday, April 25th, and then at Matthews Park on Saturday, May 2nd. And that starts around daylight, right when the sun comes up. You can come in, you'll get a ticket for some door prizes, and then we'll allow you to fish up until about 1 o'clock, and then we'll hand out the prizes. The casting contest goes on during those times as well. So it's a lot of fun. We end up usually, if the weather is good, we'll have 300 or 400 people out there fishing around the two ponds at Meridian and Matthews, and we catch a good number of fish because it is supposedly the first day that the pond is open since we restock it. DNR always brings us around 2,000 catfish, and then we feed them throughout the year, and then we open the pond up with the fishing derby. And after that, we'll open it up our regular hours. And again, those are on our website as well, that after the fishing derby, you can come in and fish at those two ponds. So other than that, we do have our community centers that are doing really well right now with the rainy weather. People are still wanting to get inside and walk. We do have a lot of outdoor walking space and tracks for you to walk. Crystal Park, Felker Park, they both have nice walking tracks. Of course, Meridian Park is probably our most used outdoor walking track that walks around the pond there at Meridian Community Center. And people are still signing up for the community center and the fitness programs that we have. They're doing real well. And so a lot going on at the Recreation Department. I encourage you to go to our new website at waltoncountyga.gov, go to departments and then Parks and Recreation, and then you can surf around and find all of the information that you need to really get involved with Parks and Recreation. We always say we go from the small infants. Our program started at age 4, and we have senior aerobics that we do have some 100-year-olds that participate in that. Probably not quite 100, but we're getting up there in the age because we're extending the healthy lifestyle of a lot of our seniors through that program. So again, go to our website. It's a wealth of information. If we can help you, give us a call. But until next time, thank you very much.
Hey everyone, it's Jenna Daniel at the UGA Extension Walton County office. Today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about some of the 4-H camp opportunities we have for the youth of Walton County this summer. This summer we offer 5 summer camps from youth ranging from 5th grade all the way to 12th grade at all 4 4-H centers throughout the state of Georgia, from the ocean to the mountains and even just an hour away at Rock Eagle. The first camp we'll talk about today is for our 5th and 6th grade 4-Hers. This is Cloverleaf Camp. Cloverleaf Camp takes place at Rock Eagle 4-H Center, just an hour away from here at Eatonton, Georgia. 5th and 6th grade 4-Hers are invited to attend June 29th through July 30th. While at camp, 4-Hers will experience the talent show, 2 swimming pools with water slides, a high ropes course, sailing, lake ecology, and archery. The second camp we'll be talking about today is Marine Resource Camp, July 20th through the 24th at Burton 4-H Center on Tybee Island. 7th and 8th grade Walton County 4-Hers are invited to attend, and they will participate in activities such as dissecting a squid, have plenty of beach time, dolphin watching, they'll explore the marsh, and they'll learn about crabs and critters that live in the ocean. As you can see, Walton County 4-H is offering tons of opportunities for your 4-Hers this summer with 4-H Summer Camp. If you have questions or would like to learn more about the prices, the dates, or any other items for 4-H camp this summer, give us a call at 770-267-1324.
Hey, thanks for tuning in once again. Today we're going to show you some more dogs and cats that are here at the Walton County Animal Control Shelter. As always, you can look at all of our pets online at waltonpets.net. Some of the ones you see here today may not be available anymore once this airs, but you can always check on our website to see what's available. We get new dogs and cats in every day. And speaking of new cats every day, we're hitting that time of year where we're getting a lot of kittens and a lot of adult cats. And to get these, there was one, to get these cats out alive, we really need some help. There's just a few rescue groups here that will help us out by rescuing the cats, but the only way they can do it is with fosters. So maybe you're not able to adopt a cat, but you're willing to foster for a short time for a rescue until they can be placed in a home. There's one local rescue group called Pound Puppies and Kittens, and they are looking for kitten fosters. Maybe you're interested in doing that. You can check their website. It's ppnk.org, or just Google Pound Puppies and Kittens Rescue, or you can call them at 770-972-5067. Again, this is just to foster some kittens. They pull directly from us so that we don't have to put so many to sleep. So it's a great way to just get involved, to help out a few, and have a really good feeling seeing those cats go into new homes. And so now we'll show you some of the dogs and cats that are here that are available for adoption.
All right, right here we have us a young tricolor terrier mix. They named him Solo. And he is so nice and friendly, full of energy. Thank you. Come on, Solo.
We got about a year-old cat, male. He's freaking out, but he's very sweet. Needs a home fast.
Here we have Buster. He's about 2 years old, male, not neutered. Boxer rot mix. As you can see, he's very friendly. He doesn't seem to mind other dogs, but he needs a good home. Yes, I know.
This is Trust. He's about 2 years old. He's already neutered. Very friendly. He just needs a good home. He's got a lot of energy. So he needs somewhere, a big yarding, run and play in. Very sweet dog.
This is a fawn colored, about 6-year-old female boxer. She's definitely calm. She's really good. She's looking for a good home. All right, come on, come on.
Where do you come alive? A stadium, lecture hall, a music hall, church potluck? This year, you have a new spot, walkgeorgia.org, a free website that provides you with all the resources needed to get your heart rate up and body out in your community. Sign up and receive individual or group fitness tracking, fitness demos by certified trainers, recipes, and a guide to resources in your Georgia County, all in one easy-to-use site. When you move more, you live more. walkgeorgia.org.
You've known for years that this is the #1 cause of lung cancer, smoking. That's why the Surgeon General issued this warning. But do you know the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers? It's in this room. You can't see it or smell it. It's radon. Radon is an invisible radioactive gas that seeps inside your home from underground. It can build up to dangerous levels without notice. Now the Surgeon General has issued another lung cancer warning. And whether you smoke or not, breathing radon can cause lung cancer. That's why you need to have your home tested. Protect your family. Call 1-800-SOS-RADON. Heed the warning. Have your home tested, because radon problems can be fixed.
Creative artists can transfer your 8mm, Super 8mm, and 16mm films, as well as converting your VHS, CVHS, 8mm, and mini DV to DVD. Preserve your family's video history for the generations to come. Creative Artists, 1113 West Spring Street, Monroe, 770-267-7368.